Hi. Okay, so this video is about meditation, about ego, about transcending ego, about self-identity. So this is it's like more detail than chapter 7 of the Dragonfly Sutra has, so you can listen to the audio on my playlist. It's the Dragonfly Sutra for chapter 7, and it goes more into how to meditate, the sitting in posture and the breathing and all those kind of details, that are important, but that you probably already know. Okay, so just like two things to start this. So, like you often hear it said that sometimes the trick isn't so much in answering the questions right, but coming up with the right question. So the question when you're meditating is, who am I? So that's the question you're trying to answer when you're meditating. Who am I? Okay? So there's kind of two things that mean a million things, like what does the pentagram mean? The five-pointed star. It seems like every book you read and everyone you talk to has a different meaning for that, And it's also the same, like, why does the Buddha shave his head? You hear a lot of things about that too. And with both things, they're all true. Those things mean many things, not one thing and everyone else is wrong kind of a thing, So right now I'd like to talk about the reason the Buddha's head shaved is in this light, the question, who am I? So the reason the Buddha shaves his head, the famous one is because it's an O. It's the womb, the vagina, the womb of the universe. Because he's one with the universe. The O, the zero. But it's also so that he looks like a baby. Okay, so like the thing is that like you're born, you're a baby, you grow up, and then like, have you ever noticed that old people? It's like as if they become young again. It's like you become old, and like the oldest, like the most like mature people are like people in their like 30s and 40s. Those people are they're matures. And then after like 60 and 70, by the time someone's in their 70s and 80s, they start getting all childish again. Like an 80-year-old or a 90-year-old, they're like super wise and they're old, but they're also kind of childish in a way, So that's kind of because, like, with the wisdom that comes with life and the wisdom that comes with, like, the tougher questions, the more important parts of life, it ends up kind of like they say, the more I know, the more I realize. The more I know, the more I realize that the less I know, or however that goes, So it's like you get older and it just makes you younger after a while, So that's why the Buddha shaves his head, because so he looks like a baby, And that's why he's like, it shows him like when he's extra fat and like looking like a baby, Because that's what you're supposed to. The Buddha it's a symbol, I mean, it's a real person too, but it's something that you're trying to reach Buddhahood yourself, and when you reach Buddhahood yourself and enlightenment, nirvana, it's because you finally know who you are. You've transcended your ego, and the reason you've transcended your ego is you become aware of who you and the universe. You become aware of what things are and what they mean, and so that just ends up bringing you back to being a baby in a way, But so right now I'm going to go over the 7 stages of ego maturity, and like, so one thing you'll notice is like each one, like it's assimilated to a young child growing up, between like birth and like, by the time you're like a teenager, So, and so you'd be like, oh, well, what are you talking about? Why are you talking about babies and teenagers and young children like that? I'm an old person, It's because kind of like the same steps that you go through when you're maturing from being a baby, and then like 2 years old and 3 years old and 4 years old and 5 years old. It's like that keeps the same symbols and the same things that keeps it keeps happening again and again, but on like an adult level. You'll see what I mean. So don't get confused on that. Why are we talking about babies again? Because you're a baby. Okay, so the question is, who am I? So like when you meditate, it's kind of like if you've seen the symbol, the glyph for Tiferet, for number 6, it's like a 0 with a dot in the middle. So one thing in mysticism and spirituality is a rule of thumb that I live by, that I highly recommend you live by, is anything that conventional Christian priests warn their congregation as evil, those are the things that are actually good. Okay? So like they say the pentagram's evil, it's probably good. They say that every time they say something's evil, it's actually good. They're just so cuckoo bird that they say stupid shit. So like that circle, I've seen them say that circle, the glyph that's a circle with a dot in the middle, they say it's satanic. It's like, gosh damn, dude, you guys have such an imagination. Okay, that ancient symbol, it actually means it's who you are. Okay? You're the macrocosm, that's the circle on the outside, and you're the microcosm on the inside. The inner Kabbalah, what you see with, who you are when you close your eyes, and the outer Kabbalah, when you open your eyes, you're everything within, but you're everything without. Kind of like that Beatles song, Within You, Without You. So who you are, it's beyond just who you are inside. You're one with the macrocosm and the microcosm, but you link within, But your within is your without too, and your without is your within. It's all connected. Okay. So when you meditate, you're silencing all the chatter, you're silencing everything down, you're putting your heartbeat and your breathing in sync, you're getting comfortable, how you sit and the positioning and all that. That's so, because like if you just sit like in a bad posture, your organs will pinch, and then when you're trying to silence everything, your body won't shut up. It'll keep saying, your stomach will be saying, your rib cage is digging into my heart, and things like that, So when you're just completely comfortable, then you don't have to have, your body isn't going to be saying anything, You're trying to silence everything, and you can concentrate just on your breathing, mostly your heartbeat, and try to sync that with your breathing, and so that it just becomes breathing, And that's just because that's just like such a focal point, because the breathing and that. So what you can do is like, you do that, you silence everything, but then it's kind of like there's different, like if you're meditating all the time, there's also the thinking involved with meditation, There's silence in the breathing, but you can also have like a conversation with yourself, because like if you silence the chatter says you got to pay your bills. It says you've got to this, you've got to that. You should worry about that. You could, like you're not sitting in the right posture. Your legs you don't look like a yogi monk and blah 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 and things like that. That's just like like those things don't matter. It's like. Some people, if you're worried so much about your clothes and your shoes and doing everything right, and somebody saying, look, you don't really know how to meditate because you're doing this wrong, it's like those things are all just tips. They're not, they're not, you can meditate just sitting on a park bench, once you know how to do it. Those things are just kind of getting you there, And it's also because life's a struggle, so it's, you're trying to go back to that place, and there's a lot of obstacles trying to prevent you from doing that. But it's not like there's set rules and things like that. So like when you get there, then you can start listening to your conversations, And you'll notice there's what they call the seeing, the seer, and the seen. You know, because like, first of all, when you're talking, like, who are you talking to? You know, that's because you remember the question is, who am I? Like the bigger picture question, the overall question, you're trying to answer, who am I? So, you know, who are you talking to when you're talking to yourself? You know, it's like you're talking to somebody, but you're talking to yourself. So there's something that's seeing, there's something that's being seen, and then there's the action of seeing, and it's all part of the conversation. You know what I mean? So you start listening to all that. Then there's your guardian angel, you know, like, and you have to learn to like, your guardian angel might not be your guardian angel. So you have to kind of develop a relationship with your guardian angel. You know, your guardian angel will always say good things. It won't ever say, you know, you're fat or ugly or you can't do it or things like that. It can be realistic, but always, and you can always feel the spirit of love in there, you know. If anyone loves you, it should be your guardian angel. So if you got something in there that's talking to you and it's not that, then it's got to be some kind of echo from some abusive person, or it's not going to be your guardian angel. So a lot of you're silencing everything, and then you're kind of breaking everything down into a more pure conversation. So then, when you do your conversation, another thing you can notice is like what your needs are, and what, you know, like if your conversation is about your image, you know, look, it's just because I'm just not, you know, I have a right to try to develop a good professional image, or I'm trying to, you know, got to be a good parent, or, you know, I'm just trying to be a good spouse, or I'm just, if you notice that the things that you want and the things you're worried about and the things you have on your mind or all have something to do with your image, then that's what you're trying to do. Because what that does, that reveals which of these 7 stages of ego maturity you're on. And, you know, and the idea is that you don't want to get stuck in stages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You want to be in stage 7, and you know, and you know, things with the ebbs and flows of life and everything, you're not just going to stay in 7, and everything's always going to be a part of you. So what is ego? Ego is the belief and the experience of separateness. So when anything that you know breaks things down into a system that makes you something separate from the whole is ego. And that's really just a natural thing it's your body just dealing with the suffering of life, you know, doing the best it can. So a baby, okay, anyway, I think I have like the introduction done. So we're going to be going over the 7 stages, and it's kind of like if you've had a baby, you've seen how they, like, when they find their hands, you know, like, if you think about it, like with each stage, like babies go through, like every month they're going through this different stage. You know, a baby is a different person every month. You know, and then they have this. There's this like thing they're working on that month, and then they get over that. Then the next month they have another thing they're working on. So it's kind of like that. You know, what you know, the question is again, who am I? You know. So that question continues after you're done being a baby and after you're done being a child. You just kind of keep recycling the same question, who am I? And it's really the same things. Even as a baby, you know, you'll see what I mean. You know, so a lot of people get stuck in the same place that a baby is, really, in a bad way, you know, not in a Buddha way. So you're just getting to know yourself and becoming aware of yourself, the microcosm and macrocosm, and just the bigger picture, and on different levels as you keep reviewing back over and over again the same thing that's the existence that's you. So anyway, so that's what we're going to be doing.